I will check it. I assume it. Okay, here it is. So I will tweet it.
So you tweeted the link, but without any context. Was that on purpose?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm
gonna go check the link to make sure, but it looks good to me.
So if I click the link,
it shows the streaming.
Okay, yep. Perfect.
All right.
For me, it was only the blank placeholder screen.
Yeah, no, it's actually us streaming. So yeah, I would actually put out a tweet that actually says, "Hey, we're live right now. Stay tuned."
Yeah.
And if you come across this later, then this link will work for to see the replay or something. And then when you tweet that, I'll retweet it. Hey, Frank.
Hey.
Let's see. How do we chat in there? Can we chat in there?
You should, or at least I can.
You can. Yeah, I can't, but I could just go over to YouTube and chat there if I wanted. But I just get to say it. He's here because of the tweet. What's up, Joseph?
Okay. Have tweeted with at least one sentence.
Okay, cool. I'll go retweet that one. Good link. Let me find it. It didn't go out yet. I'm only just seeing the one with just the link.
I will delete the one with the link.
Okay. I'm not seeing the one with the full sentence. Oh, here you go. 32 seconds. It just took a second.
Perfect.
Retweet. Great.
So I don't know. I can't see how many people are watching the stream right now here in Restream Studio.
I thought it would show us.
We have 5 people now. So
yeah, you want to give it maybe just 2 minutes since everybody didn't have the link to join if they're planning to.
Yeah.
I do know quite a few people at Titan are, because they're at work right now, they're going to watch the replay. So, and that's something I've experienced a lot with live streams, is that a lot of people, they're like, hey, in my particular time zone, I'm going to have to watch the replay. Hey, Pushpak. Yeah. Hey, Jorge. Oh,
Thanks,
hey,
Frank.
look at that. That's cool. Do you pick a chat item and choose to feature it like that?
Yeah. I can just hover on a comment in the right sidebar and click on it, and
very cool.
It will show up. So like,
for those of you who don't, for those of you who don't know, this is a really cool. There's hey Christoph, there are a lot of people have been creating these team things like this where you do like a whole bunch of people together. But Restream is the one I use for all of my my streaming. So my OBS streams to Restream, and it sends to Twitch and YouTube. And so Tom discovered that Restream has one of these too, which is super cool. I'm definitely going to use this, because in the past, what I've been doing is like call somebody on Skype and then share their Skype window into my OBS, which is just so much more work than this, which is just so freaking convenient. Yeah. So good find.
If you feel like you need a bit more tooling around, you can also use OBS to stream Restream Studio
as one of the sources, basically.
Yeah, and I think they also have a Zoom integration. I don't know how this works, but
hey, Marcel.
Hey, all who have joined last minute. So,
hey, Omid.
I hope you all have something to drink or eat or whatever, and have a perfect,
right.
and have a nice place to watch it.
Yeah. If any of you, this is probably US only, but this right here is freaking amazing. It's pea protein milk. So they just took pea protein and water and then said it's milk. And then this one, they added some chocolate and some more protein. So,
yeah.
Adam said is watching the other feed. Is there a second feed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this was the same like I think you had last time.
Yeah, same thing. Yep. It's so
you
confusing.
announce a stream via YouTube and plan it, but you are unable to connect to this stream via Restream Studio. So I think you can plan events in Restream, but yeah, whatever. I think people
we'll figure it out as we go, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so Christoph and Frank have both said they have the same experience, whereas you don't get a lot of people in the live stream, but then, you do get enough to get fun chats with some people, but then it's the replays that are really kind of where the videos, people really watch them, because just a lot of people can't watch it live, so.
Yeah, exactly. We have a worldwide community with
24
hours of time zones.
Yep.
So even if we try to match at least a big part of the world, and I think we are able to do this right now. So with end of evening in Europe and midday in US and some hours also for our Asian friends. But I think for Australia, for example, will be definitely unable.
What time is it in Sydney right now? What time is it in?
I think they are on the exact opposite of my time zone, so it should be 5 a.m.
Sydney, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay. So
they are. Sydney is the exact opposite of 2 time zones east of me, which I don't know if there's anybody there. The east coast of Brazil, when it's not daylight savings time, is 2 time zones east of me.
Yeah. So we have 15 now.
You want to go?
I think 15 is okay.
Good. It's the magic number.
So, hey all, I've made a big trouble during the last week on Twitter, and I'm quite happy to announce it today in combination with Matt, who helped me to get it done, even if he hasn't written a single line of code, but he were a perfect consultant for me. So yeah, let's go and start with a presentation. So this is the image you all know, and let's remove the ellipses, and here you go. Exactly. So the tool is it intentional that you are muted, Matt?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we're all hearing me swallowing when I'm drinking.
Okay. So the tool I'm announcing is Openda. Very few of you already know it. So Frake, for example, because I had to invite some in the early beta process to test and play around with it. All of you who already want to check it out now, this is the domain, so you can access it. There is no anything you have to do. Just click on it. You can visit it, and there's it's only the sign in, but it's also a sign up button in the upper right. And now, before we are talking about what Openda is, first introduction of myself. So I'm Tom Witkowski, founder of Astrotomic, an open source collective. And the organization behind Openda. We are already 2 people right now with Sarah. And yeah, now I'm also the founder of Openda.me. You can see some links. You can, if you want to follow me, check out what I'm doing. And now Matt's turn.
I don't even deserve this slide. Literally all I've done as all of these things is I've hung out with Tom and validated his brilliant ideas. So I'm Matt. If you don't know who I am, I'm your friend. That's my usual pitch.
Perfect. So I will do it quick. He's partner and technical director of Titan, and I think most of you know him as a big part of the Laravel community. A very kind person, definitely. So
thank you, my friend.
Even if he says he doesn't deserves it, a big thank you. And yeah, a short overview. First, a short introduction, so some thanks, and after this, my motivation. So why I have created this tool, because I think this is something missing sometimes if you just see the tool. Then the goals, future roadmap, so how the tool can or will evolve during the next weeks, months, and so on. Yeah, Daniel, I'm sorry, this was the first planned link, but I wasn't able to connect to it today, so I had to create a new one. And yeah, some closing words, so like sponsors, if you want to contact me, how you can do, and some parting words. So first, special thanks to Matt as my consultant and idea validator. Secondly, Sarah, who is now the co-maintainer of Astrotomic. She has joined me, I don't know, 2 months ago or something like this. And yeah, already helped me a lot, even if not directly so much with Openda, but with keeping my back clear of all the tasks coming in with other 27 packages we've already released at Astrotomic. And Daniel has helped me with writing, and yeah, he has created the FHQs, for example, and checked some of the wordings I had. And yeah, Matt did also the same. As a native English speaker, he was a big help. So my motivation and some background. My whole career started back in 2015, or at least my open source career. And this is also the biggest motivation behind it, because my whole career is based on open source. So at this point, a really big thank you to Frake, who has asked me back in 2016, I think, to join as a Spartier as a maintainer of some packages. First one was activity log, I think. And I'm now maintaining several of Spartier packages and helping where I can. And yeah, in 2015, I've also founded Astrotomic to keep some packages in it I've created during this time. And all the stuff and everything that happens afterwards changed definitely my career. So I wouldn't be at this point in my career where I am now without open source. It was a lot of work, definitely, but for me, it was also worth it, because open source is something you can carry between different employers. So not like company projects you have to left behind if you join a new company or something. Open source is persistent between whatever day job you are doing. And after I've done some work at Spartier and Astrotomic, it was a big door opener, because as soon as I was able to talk to the IT department, so CTO, head of development, or whoever was responsible to talk with me during application process, this was really a big door opener always, because they already knew my name, and sometimes also said like, oh, you're Tom, yeah, we are using your code already in most of our projects, for example. So this helps a lot to get in, and it also helped a lot in the sense that I nearly never had to do any coding challenges, because my GitHub profile was like the coding challenge beforehand. So head of development were able to check it out, to read through my code, what's important for me, for example, to code. So because all of this code is written by me, they can see how I'm coding, which tools to check code quality, for example, I use, and so on. And I've already stated in a side sentence some motivation behind it. This only worked as soon as I were able to talk to the IT department. The whole process before with recruiters and the human resource department and so on, they don't know GitHub. They are unable to understand it, which is totally fine because it's not their job to click through all the repositories and understand what it means that I've committed or whatever. And this is a part that Openda Me should solve. It should provide, or it already does, a public profile for you as an open source developer, contributor, maintainer, whatever, and reduces all the data we retrieve from GitHub into a profile nearly everyone is able to understand. So for the persons of you who have already checked it out, if you go to the profile or if you click on the homepage on any of the linked profiles, there's, for example, this top paragraph that says to how many repositories you have contributed, in which languages, and so on. And this, for example, is the first paragraph in the introductions the recruiter can see and understand. And oh, sorry, Kaneko. Yeah, my bad somehow. But not much yet. I'm talking about my motivation, and you've missed possibly the link, but I think I've invited you already. So yeah, and yeah, so this is my motivation behind it. And now Matt can talk about the other side because he's a manager in his company, so he can talk about and think about the hiring process. And he has already validated my idea, said it is helpful. So
yeah, and that was the main thing, is that Tom said, what if I built something like this? And I said that would be very helpful for me in the hiring process. So essentially the value for me is when somebody applies to Titan, there's historically been, a value made, say, hey, if you have these open source projects and contributions, it's helpful, but that's not the only thing we consider because some people don't have time for that. Okay, cool. So that's already noted. But if we want to look at somebody's open source contribution, it's often difficult to know exactly what the value is that they provided there quite yet. And so one of the things that I've had to do is learn to figure out, how do you look at the metrics that actually matter? So for example, some people will say, oh, I'm the number one contributor, or the number 3 contributor on X and Y large project. Well, it turns out all their contributions are, grammar changes. They haven't written a single line of code, which, can be helpful at times, but that's not necessarily the same as writing core code. And so of course, I'm good at looking at GitHub and figuring out what has somebody contributed to and all that kind of stuff. But still, it's not always totally transparent. But I know that there's a lot of hiring managers who don't have the same familiarity with the type of tech that we're interviewing people from, or they may interview across multiple tech stacks, and the people might do open source in different places. Or just because I know how to evaluate somebody's contributions to JavaScript and PHP and Vim script doesn't mean necessarily I would know how to evaluate the contributions to Ruby gems or anything like that. So in general, I like the idea that folks who have been giving back to open source can use that as reference points for basically showing the value they have to offer somebody, because a lot of folks who do open source work have trouble kind of really communicating that well in their application process.
Yeah. So this is also something I've tried to get around, showing the numbers like 35 commits to this repository, or changed 3,000 lines of code or whatever, because like Matt said, these numbers aren't really trustworthy and can mean whatever. So you can change the indentation of 50,000 lines of code, and yeah, it shows that you have changed 50,000 lines of code, but if you check out the commit, you see, okay, he has changed indentation, which can be helpful in means of accessibility, but isn't, like Matt said, it's the same like if you have wrote the whole documentation or provided real code features or whatever. And yeah, so to the next slide. Openda Me. some have guessed it. Yeah, so there's an O missing. This is intentional. So point 1, open door me goes like 100 times the domain. And secondly, I like this little misspelling in the name because it's now like a brandable name, and it also seems like something. So if we look back to words like operator, so the person who opens doors, so it's an opender. I don't know if it's only me, but it sounds like this. And yeah, so there's a background behind the name. It should be a door opener. So this is also what the website says in the hero section. And no, Daniel, it could be in Netherlands or something like this, but door in, oh yeah, it is with one O, but with a T. So it's an U, but whatever. Yeah, and there was a question by what in the comments. Exactly. So there's one limitation we have right now. We are only able to index repositories and organizational repositories by persons who have already signed up. So for Laravel community, for example, this should already be a lot because I was able to get some major maintainers of Laravel open source projects to onboard beforehand in the beta process, like Titan, Spacia, Ryan Chandler, and some other people. So these should be indexed well enough. But if you join in from another tech stack, for example, or any other language even, this could be not all of your contributions. So I've added this small notice on your profile section in the upper part. And it can also take up to 24 hours that we index all relations, even to repositories we have already on our index because of some GitHub API limitations. But this is a bit too deep code diving right now. We will do it later on our Discord. So if you want to check out the code and my learnings and all this stuff, I will talk about later on the Astrotomic Discord channel. So the goals. It should be accessible to everyone. So not only tech people using GitHub daily and being familiar with everything that happens, but also to people like recruiters and human resource department and all the stuff, and even your mother, for example. So if she knows at least what is that PHP is a programming language, your mother should at least understand the top section until we get to the repository list. It's also non-profit. So there's only one feature idea on the roadmap we have right now that could be a pay feature, but only for recruiters. I'm really thinking about it, if I want to do it or not. But for the moment, it's non-profit. It's totally funded by my own pocket and my GitHub sponsors. So at this place, already a big thank you to all my GitHub sponsors who are paying me to do open source and have made it possible that I can come up with even multiple servers for this project. And responsibility, as I know that being part of the hiring process is a really sensible thing. I want to only promote people in this process and don't provide a tool that is used to bring people down. So I really try to provide a tool that doesn't provide any comparison, like, oh, you only did like 3 commits to this one. I really want to do like, oh, you did 3 commits. It is even more than, for example, I did or whatever. So only valuing that you have done open source, because every single commit to every single repository is a work you most time do in your free time and without getting any pay for it or whatever. So roadmap, launching MVP is already done. So some future things are getting in some interactivity, like user profile customization, adding your gender or pronoun you want to get in your first paragraph, spoken languages, because this can be important for recruiting, like some companies only want to hire German or English-speaking people. And yeah, adding pinned repositories for at least maintainers. I'm thinking about doing the same for contributors. So at least maintainers can say, like on GitHub, these are my top repositories. And recruiters, as a user profile, that they can sign in and join the community with a profile with features like pinning or bookmarking single developers for later use, for example, or organizations to check out. So if I know that Sparsy, for example, has really high quality code, I can pin the organization to see all the contributors I possibly want to hire. Yeah, and also PDF export. So I know that a lot of the part in the hiring process is on paper. So I've seen it a lot of times that the other person on the table had printed out my website, for example. And yeah, after this, I think these two are inversed, so badges and letters. Name it however you want, the badges or medals, achievements. But like two ways for maintainers to add or to say that this contributor did a really outstanding job for the repository. So this can be a single badge if it was good and outstanding, but nothing worth changing in sense of, for example, totally rewriting a whole repository. And yeah, even letters as a recommendation letter. So the maintainer can write a real recommendation letter we will attach to the profile. I'm thinking about like a clickable recommendation set letter, so you don't have to write a whole one. But these are future things to think about. And if you have your own ideas, the whole repository is open source. And we use GitHub discussions for ideas. So just send in your idea. I prefer the Scrum story part, like as whatever I want to be able to, whatever. But yeah, send in whatever ideas you have. And I'm using if you don't know it, there's an arrow on the left of these discussions to vote them up. And I use these upvoting to decide which ideas I will work next on. Yeah. So also my sponsors, like say, to made it possible to work on this. So thank you to every single sponsor of them. And sorry, there's one missing. So Ping and Plausible Analytics are sponsoring me by providing the tool for free. And also others are my GitHub sponsors. Yeah, so if you want to contact me or get in touch with the repository or whatever, there's a GitHub repository website. You can email me. I will check them out. Please don't spam me. And yeah, I will send the Discord link on Twitter and also here in the chat. So for the after announcement stream code diving session. And some parting words I thought are really matching the project. And yeah, I think I'm unable to really read them out because my English isn't this good. But if Matt wants, and if he doesn't, just read them.
I think it's just good for everybody to read them. Thank you.
So primarily, the second one was really how my career, for example, worked. So I always try to help others. So my first open source contributions were at Spatie, for example, and I've also tried to help others in other open source ones. And I'm now also, let's name it a mentor, and helping single persons to get into Laravel, PHP, and so on. And I've tried to always open doors for others. And this, like I said, also opened my own doors. So I think there are more wordings like this in different languages. That if you help others, you get back like karma. Is there anyone who has any question right now? So we can answer or will answer on stream. Independent if a question for me or Matt or whatever. Okay. This is a really good one. And I think there's also a good point that Matt is on stream for this, because Titan has a good project for this already. And Titan has a project named Aussie. Have I named it correctly?
Yeah.
And
I've already. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've already talked about it before. Even the idea of Appender to different ideas how to work with Aussie. And there was one idea to make it like Appender as central point, so everyone can sign up to Aussie.com, for example, and we keep track on all the things. But I think Matt can explain Aussie a bit better.
Yeah. So Aussie was something I threw together on a stream once with the idea of making it easy to see all of the issues and pull requests and basically work that needed to be done on all of Titan's open source repositories together in one place. So if you go to ozzie.titan.co, you can see what an install of it looks like. And a few other companies discovered it pretty recently and said, we want this too. And so, including Spatie gave us some really helpful pull requests and issues and stuff like that. We've talked about the possibility of it being a centralized software as a service in case there's any reason for people to consume it. But I think the simplest thing to do right now is for Spatie and Titan, both of us make it public, whether through Aussie or something else, to say, here's some great places for you to go check out some of our easiest, things to work on. So for Titan, it would be aussie.titan.co. I don't know if Spatie's is public. I think it's not. But I know that Freak often tweets things out just saying, hey, here's an easy open source issue for you to check out. So that'd be a place to look as well.
Yeah. So if Matt or Titan doesn't want to work on Aussie as a central thing, I think Matt is fine with me copying some of the logic, like the technical debt. It's a magic number in Aussie to decide which repository needs the most work for it. And as we already have most of the data, so we have already indexed organizations, users, repositories, and have also a lot of these needed GitHub API access tokens. It's not too much work for me, for example, to index also this technical debt score for repositories. In turn, if Matt would publish Aussie, you would have to sign up to 2 tools, and we would again add some linking via APIs between these tools. So it could definitely be an idea to add or to bring in Aussie logic into Appender. And yeah,
we built a headless version of Aussie into Aussie. Did we merge that yet?
Yeah, not this full headless, but an API endpoint to retrieve most of the information from a single repository. But this only works for Titan right now because Titan has this Aussie instance. So
so there's possibility for us to build other tooling in the future that makes it easier for folks who are allowing people who are interested to expose the projects that they want other people's help on. So that's something something definitely to keep thinking about down the road.
And bringing in Aussie will also be like a reason for maintainers to sign up. So right now, the maintainers mostly sign up only to get their own profile and to make it possible for Appender to index the repositories they maintain. And if we bring an Aussie into Appender, it will be another reason for maintainers, because they get the publicity of getting this technical gap store and having contributors willing to help them out at one single place to find repositories needing a need of help. This one, not yet. And this was something I had in the very first place. So as an administrator, I'm able to submit organizations or repositories, but not a single user. And this has something to do with GitHub API limits or rate limits. So we only use fully public API endpoints, so we don't retrieve any data that isn't retrievable even without an access token. So the access token only increases our rate limit. But if everyone would be able to submit organizations or repositories, we would end up with quickly indexing whole GitHub without having enough access tokens. So every access token gives us 5,000 requests per hour, but not only us, it's per user. So if you use other GitHub integration tools, you as a user have 5,000 requests. So if one tool uses 1,000 and we use 1,000, you only have 3,000 left. So it wouldn't be this helpful if Appender would use your whole 5,000 requests per hour. And it's quite a lot of requests we use to index whole organizations, for example. So Sparse here with over 200 repositories consumes, I think, like 300 requests. And this would be the same if someone, for example, wants to submit a tool by Microsoft or whatever. These organizations have a ton of open source repositories, and we will scan all of them. So the best thing you can do is talk to the maintainer and ask them kindly to sign up on Appender. If there's a really big one you want to have indexed, you can open an issue or better a discussion on GitHub, and I will see if I can get it in without having the maintainer to sign up. But for the moment, this is the only thing you can do as a user. Yeah. So that's all already. I will quickly check out how many people. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot to all the people who have already signed up. So we now have 40 more users like before the stream. So this is a lot, I think. And yeah, for all of you wanting to discuss further with me and get a quick blink on the code and all the stuff, I will tweet the Discord link, and I have already did so on Twitter. So if you search my profile, you will find it, but I will also tweet it again. And you can join our Discord server. And I think, around 45 minutes or even full hour, I will join in the Discord and talk about my own learnings during the last month and some code things I've done to optimize it. It's like, say, a multi-server infrastructure, so I can also talk about Laravel behind load balancer and having a dedicated queue worker, a database server. And yeah, for all people interested in numbers, I've worked now, so real code work, a whole month on it. My first commit was on 14 March, and following my PHP Storm time tracker, it's now over 100 hours only coding. And also a lot more hours of getting ideas and sleepless nights and chatting with Matt. So, yeah. Oh, good idea. Yeah, I can try out to also code in public. And yeah. And Ahmed, not yet. I was totally focused on getting the real app done. So there is no README right now. There is only a license and nothing more. But I will work on this in the future. Right now, it's also pretty limited because you need a Nova license to do a Composer install. Matt and I have worked on an optional Nova package I think 2 weeks ago. And this has also some quirks, and it's more like hacking. It's a way for open source packages like I think Matt has used it for, what was it?
Don't even remember.
Was it something with? It was your Laravel learning platform with an O. I don't remember.
OnRamp, yeah. Mm-hmm.
OnRamp, yeah. So, and for me, it's Openda, but this isn't really public now. So you can't do a Composer install or whatever without a Nova license. And for icons right now, I'm using the Font Awesome Pro one, which is also a paid license. You need to do a yarn install, so you can't test code locally right now without having these two licenses. I'm working at least on and making Nova optional or even replace it with something else. But Nova was the fastest way for me right now to get a back office. And yeah. So I think this was the stream. I hope you all enjoy the project and feel free to share it out. So share your own profile on Twitter or share the tool or talk with your favorite maintainer to join Openda. So his repositories are next. And yeah, you can copy the link of your profile to your CV or whatever to already make it part of your own application process. So yeah. Thanks, Frank. And yeah. Have a nice evening and see you next time. And for all willing on Discord.
See y'all later.
Oh, Frakes, this is the kind of thing you could say to me. See you.